The albino rhino, they once called him.
Yeah.
And inducted into the Broncos Hall of Fame. Legendary Karl Mecklenburg joins the show, man. Thank you enough.
Oh, happy to be here.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. You're a legend, man. I watched you growing up. I watched you. This guy wasn't even born, I don't think, yet. Big Smitty. So shout out to you, man. How you been, brother?
Things are good.
Good to hear, man. I got to ask you right out the gate. I got a question that's always been on my mind. You play with two legendary secondary guys. And as a quarterback, I used to watch safety tandems in the NFL when you used to be able to hit guys. I got to ask you, do you think your two safeties, Atwater and Smith, were the two best tandem safeties ever to play football?
Yeah, pretty amazing. And great coverage guys, great leadership guys, and just flat hit you, knock you. I mean, the hardest I've ever been hit on a football field was Dennis Smith knocked me out.
Really?
Yeah. I was covering the tight end down the seam in a 2-deep zone, and Dennis missed the tight end and hit me. I saw the tight end's hands with the ball on top, my hand on top, and the next thing I saw was a trainer.
The trainer. Hey, let me ask you. I know you got inducted into the Broncos Hall of Fame, but in your true opinion, we have Eric Weddle, Super Bowl champ, on the show quite often, and other guys, a lot of NFL, Urlacher and guys come on who got into the Hall of Fame. Guys have mentioned to me, like, Karl Mecklenburg should be in the Hall of Fame. Do you look at it that way at all?
Of course. I mean,
hey, I love it. I didn't know if you were going to be like, I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it.
If I had a vote, truthfully, JB, my situation's different. The Hall of Fame is you're comparing guys to other players who played their position. I played all 7 front positions. They don't know what to do with me.
No doubt. That's tough, man. How did you do that? How did you do that? Three Pro Bowls in a row, right?
Yeah, I played it. Yeah, I played in 6. Had some All-Pro honors. Played in 3 Super Bowls out of 4 years there in the middle of my career. We had a very good team. And a big part of it was the coaching. I was drafted as a 240-pound nose guard. I was a 310th pick of the draft, 20 guys away from Mr. Irrelevant. I was that guy. I got to training camp. I tore a hole in one of my socks. Brought the pair of socks into the equipment manager, asked him for a new pair of socks. He said, "What's the matter with the other one?" he only gave me one sock. So that's where I stood when I got to training camp.
Let me ask you before Smitty jumps in here, like this. Speaking of that, it's funny how you said that. Like this era, I'm old school, obviously coaching all this time and all these things. Smitty's having technical issues. The era, where are you at with this era, man? And we got helmet condoms or whatever the hell you call them. We got all the things to try to protect the player, and then they're making more money than ever from guys like yourself who paved the way. Where are you at with this generation and the rules that have been changed? Is it the player's mentality, or has the rules softened the player and the players are just doing what the rules have allowed?
Yeah, there's definitely been change, and that's one thing about football. It's really fluid. My grandfather was a little All-American at University of North Dakota. He played in the 20s. I was watching a game with him, and I made the mistake of saying, "Grandpa, these guys are really big. I don't know if you could play nowadays." Hell, boy, I played when it was a man's game. Didn't have no face mask, didn't have no pads in my pants, had to play both ways. So, you got to expect the game to evolve. Yeah, it's different. I don't know if I'd make it now. My game was, I'm gonna hit you. That was my game.
Now you gotta lay the guy down. Now you gotta coddle the guy and lay him on the ground, the quarterback.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely different.
Let me transition. You play with legends John Elway and other guys. I gotta ask you, like, Mahomes, this whole take, and I'm not high on him like a lot of others are. I just think the game has changed so much. I don't believe he's even close to a guy like John Elway, who used to give up his body, used to be able to get hit, take a chin shot, still have to deliver the ball. And we threw real routes in the NFL at that time, not just lateral as fast as we can go, which is change the game. Where are you at with Elway as an all-time great?
No, he was an amazing guy. He was my quarterback my whole career. We were rookies the same year, and just we could do things defensively other teams couldn't do. I mean, we knew if it was close at the end, and Dan Reeves took off the handcuffs at the end all the time, then we were going to win that thing. And it would be really interesting to see what John could do in today's game with the protection, with the can't bump players. You can't. Used to be if the receiver ran into you, could grab him, and it wasn't a penalty. That was kind of what everybody did,
and hit you.
And yeah, now everything is so controlled, and they're throwing the ball all the time. He'd have put up a zillion yards. It would have been crazy to see what would have happened.
Karl, talk to our audience about the Orange Crush. I don't know if Smitty was a youngster when you guys last Super Bowl, or when you finally got it done. You guys get over the hump, and you. Did people understand how great that defense was prior, as far as the all-time greats? I think people skip over. They talk about the Purple People Eaters and the Dallas Cowboys and the Steelers and the Steel Curtain and all these other teams, the great Niner teams. Are you guys underappreciated?
Yeah, I was kind of at the tail end of that. When I got there, the team that had gone to the 77 Super Bowl, I was still in high school in 77.
Yeah, right.
The team went to the 77 Super Bowl. A lot of those guys were still on our team. We had Louis Wright and Barney Shavis, Reuben Carter, Randy Gradishar, Tom Jackson, just unbelievable players. But beyond that, just unbelievable guys. I mean, they my rookie year, we had 14 first-year guys, and it was just wow. Cleaned house, right? and it was because the owner was trying to sell the team. There was a guy named Edgar Kaiser wanted to sell the team, and wanted to make sure the books looked better. Rookies are cheaper than veterans, so a whole bunch of rookies, and then these guys who had gone to the top already, and instead of kind of regretting it and feeling bad about it, they really took us under their wing and taught us how to be not only NFL football players, but how to be men. And we were back in the Super Bowl 3 years later. And it was an amazing group. But we had some great players. Dennis Smith was if his name wasn't Smith, he would be in the Hall of Fame. No Mr.
Question.
Smith. But I mean,
I get it.
When they called me that guy, that guy was unbelievable, and not only from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. I was in charge of the front seven. He was in charge of the back guys, and he'd get everybody lined up, and you got everything going the right way, even with rookies or anybody who was on the field. And Dennis was special.
No doubt.
No, that's amazing. One thing I want to touch on, and again, apologies for the bad connection here. I want you, a few minutes ago, you mentioned how today's game, you can barely touch the players, touch the receivers. You got to lay the quarterback down, etc. When you watch the game today, though, do you still have, do you respect the game today, or do you kind of look at it with a side eye of like, man, this is nowhere near how I played the game, and it would be, these guys wouldn't last the moment they play in our era?
Yeah, it's just it's different, no question. That you still have to block, you still have to tackle, you still have to take the right angles, you still have to throw the ball accurately, you still have to catch the ball. I mean, there's a whole lot of the game that just can't change. The physical nature of it, that's to protect the players, and I don't know that it works. If you don't hit in practice, I don't know how. It used to be if you made it through 5 weeks of training camp, 2 a days, you're beating on each other that whole time. If you had something in your body that was going to go, it would have gone by then. You'd weed out the guys that just weren't physically sound. And now how do you do that? It's basically you scout the guy, you saw him on film, but you're not going to see him live until the season starts. So you pick guys based on their potential rather than what they've actually done through training camp, and that leaves guys getting injured. To me,
to your point, like you can hide now. Yeah, right. You can hide your true character now. Like you can make the roster as a guy because you can run, jump, look pretty.
Right. I don't look good in shorts. I wouldn't have made it.
I look horrible in shorts. You have to watch my tape. I get it.
I just don't get it, man. I'm just like, man. Let me ask you something. Were you on the field when Atwater buried the Nigerian nightmare Christian Okoye that game?
Yeah, Christian Okoye was a very good NFL running back, but he had no laterals. He had no wiggle, right?
Yeah.
So you could take a run at him from way back.
Cheap sheet.
And he never finished a game against the Broncos. Him or Dennis and I want to get out of the way, man, because those guys are coming. Like I got to tackle this guy fast before I get hit in the back of the head.
Going, yeah. Right. I don't think people realize how him and Barry Ward were both. You had to face both of those big backs, huh?
Yeah, and Bo Jackson. I mean, Bo was and he had an extra gear too. You had to take a different angle.
I talked to Christian about that hit because he lives out my way in California, and he when I was coaching at Shafi College, he lived right there, so he'd be working out. I'm like, who is this big old freakish looking cat in the running bleachers every day? And then he's like, at this time he was like, I'm 50, and I'm like, what? I didn't even know who it was, and then it was Christian Okoye, and I was like, God, he still looks like an NFL guy.
Oh, he's a big man. There's no question.
That's ridiculous. I was like,
crazy. Let me ask you this. Me being the 31-year-old here, on the chat, I'm just real intrigued of the differences between both eras. Are there any players today that kind of reminds you of your game and how you played? I know there's a ton of just defensive end, outside linebacker types that are really talented. You got the TJ Watts, the Myles Garrett, the Michael Parsons, etc. Are there anybody that kind of stands out? You're like, man, he kind of reminds me of me.
Yeah, it's such a different game. It's hard to compare. And what they did with me, I was drafted as a nose guard.
Right.
They moved me to defensive end. They moved me to inside linebacker. They moved me to outside line. They moved me all over. Even in one game, they'd move me all over.
Swiss Army knife.
It was just different. No.
There's only one call. Yeah, I get it.
No, just having that opportunity. I'm sure there's guys who probably could. You got to be smart, though. I mean, we had 120 different defenses, each with adjustments based on the opponent, and I got to know all 7 positions, and when you're playing inside linebacker, you should know what the other guys are supposed to do anyway. But there's a difference between being able to do it and knowing what to do, right? They put me in. They put me where they thought the ball was going. There's no better place to be as a defensive player.
Let me ask you.
I'm not fast. That's why I was the 310th pick of the draft. But I'm quick, and I'll get by him and make the tackle.
Yeah, I don't think people realize what you did. Were you the first kind of guy that people started fire zoning with and doing all the different stuff with and disguising you? That's why you played every damn position up front. Like you could carry the tight end vertical. You carried the back out of the backfield. You chip a lot. Like you did everything. I don't know if there was a guy before you doing that.
No. Joe Collier came up with that. Joe's an amazing coach, and he sees things in players that other. To me, that's leadership, right? You see a guy, you figure out what they're capable of, and you put them in a position to be successful. We back then, and it's still that way. Everything was packages, right? So you put in your nickel package. So then there's only certain things you'll do out of the nickel. You put in your dime. You put in your 4-man front, your 3-man front. We had the same guys on the field. I could line up like I'm at a linebacker, and all of a sudden I'm down in a 3-point stance, and we're playing a short yardage defense, and they can't make adjustments. So that was the whole idea, I think.
No doubt. Let me ask you something. What's your most memorable moment? Something that sticks out. Like either
for me, coach. The winning the drive game was the amazing thing. Our first trip to the Super Bowl, going into Cleveland, and it was as hostile a crowd as I've ever seen. I mean, they threw dog bones at us all the way to the there was 6 inches of dog bones on the sidelines. You had to leave your helmet on. The equipment manager gathered up a whole bunch of them in a garbage bag, and I brought them home to my dogs.
That's crazy. I can imagine that dog bones.
Yeah, big old milk bones too, man. They weren't the little ones. they were throwing them out of the stands at us, and it was us against the world, and to go in under that. And the field was horrible. The field had, I guess it had rained or snowed or something, and it was frozen, and the wind coming off of the lake, and it was us against the world, and to come out with the win was amazing.
Hey, Karl, I got to ask you, I was a Cleveland Brown fan as a youngster. I'm an LA Ram guy, LA, but I was like, all right, I love the Browns because my last name's Brown, right? So when I was a little kid, I didn't know better. I was like, oh, the Browns, they're my last name. So I was like, where the hell are they? I'm like 8. I like Cleveland. So anyway, I became a Browns fan for a minute. And let me ask you something. I know that it was Jeremiah Castile who caused the fumble on Ernest Biner in that infamous game, or the fumble game. But you are the one that signaled our ball. and you know what? I swear to God, people don't realize what I'm about to say. I used to coach this particular act that you performed, and I would get my whole team to cut off the referee and start signaling while my rest of my team fought for the ball underneath the pile.
There you go.
That was because of you. So I just wanted to shout you out on that deal. Because you had the ref looking why he was still taking the ball. So I thought that was a huge thing.
Yeah, that was an amazing play, because Cat's little guy. I'm 150 pounds dripping wet, right? Yeah. And here's Ernest Biner, on the 1 yard line, full head of steam, going for the goal line. And instead of thinking he's going to take him on, he just went for the ball.
Hell yeah. That's unbelievable. I like both of those seasons, or both Cleveland Brown games could have went either way, huh? Like
yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. And they had some great teams. I'd feel sorry for them, except I got to go to the Super Bowl. so yeah. No,
I was going to ask you that.
They had some great teams.
No doubt. They were legit. I know that. This year, the draft we're in the week of the draft. We appreciate you coming on here Thursday, 100%. About 80 hours away from the draft. The draft just seems a figment of what it used to be, Karl, in my opinion. Like the way college football has become with the transfer portal and the NIL money grab, I just think it's watered down the draft, in my opinion, because these players are getting paid already so much money. I don't know if the investment's there anymore. I don't know if the NFL is their ultimate prize or goal anymore. Are you seeing that by these college kids?
Yeah, it has changed things tremendously. All of a sudden you've got guys who are, driving Bentleys to the draft. It's a whole different thing. But the other thing is they're staying in college longer, and ultimately it's going to catch up from a number standpoint. But yeah, there's more wear and tear on the guys coming in. There's things are a little bit different that way, and they're not under such pressure to feed their family. And so, yeah, things are a little different.
Yeah, Debbie, you always talk about that. It's like, you're getting these kids millions of dollars when they're 18 years old. It's like, well, what's the rush in me wanting to make it to the next level? Or why do I even want to go to the next level? It almost seems like a lot of these kids are focused more so on getting as much money as they possibly can and staying in college for 7 or even 8 years in some cases, and kind of not worrying about the next level because they're making that dollar amount now. It's interesting.
Great point, Karl.
I was a transfer in college. I went to a Division II school, Augustana College in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, for a couple of years.
Yep.
They took away my partial scholarship, so I left and I walked on at the University of Minnesota. I had to work as a bouncer that off season, and run scout team. And things are definitely different. That actually just the opportunity to change schools without having any penalty, without having to sit out for a year, really made a big difference. And now you throw the money on top of it too.
But see, at the time, and I don't know if it's still that way or not, but at the time, all the way through my era, you can go from D2 to D1 or D1 to D2 and not sit out. It was D1 to D1 for our era that you had to sit out a year. D2, and shout out to Augustana, man, one of my lifelong friends who played for the Cincinnati Bengals for a long time. Kevin Casevihorn went to Augustana. So shout out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was ineligible when I transferred. I don't know what the
requirements were. Yeah.
Let me catch up in school anyway. So that
crazy time. And just to further piggyback on that, before you get out of here, there's like a video resurfaced or not resurfaced, surfacing around the internet. The Colorado, right? They played Coach Deion Sanders. They played the spring game this weekend, and they got this big time recruited quarterback. And the number one thing they're showing is him driving her off in a Lamborghini. and he has yet to play a game yet in college. He has not thrown a pass for the Colorado Buffaloes in a game yet, and he's flat. He's showing his chain, and I actually know his mother. He's showing his chain, his Lamborghini, and I'm getting blown up by people like, man, we're cooked, man. This game, this we don't know if these guys are. Is he really wanting to be an NFL guy, or he's already an NFL guy? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, to your point.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's even when I was coming in as a 23-year-old, all of a sudden having money is different. And by the time you get that figured out, you're out of the league for most players, right? The vast majority of NFL guys to this day, when they retire, have run through their money already, and it's. You wish there'd be a way to teach these kids and force them to put some money away and do some stuff, but it just they're being treated like men, and so they need to act like men. I don't know. I was driving my Ford Ranger parking next to the.
I had a different experience.
Hell yeah! Hey, it's unbelievable. Hey, Karl, man, we can't thank you enough for hopping on here, man. Unbelievable stories, and I knew you would have them. And you were a gem to watch, man, growing up. And shout out to you. Hopefully, you get in the Hall of Fame. They need to put your butt in there.
Well, I appreciate that. So I've been a professional speaker now for the last 20 years.
Hell yeah!
I keynote speeches all around the country. I do about 40 a year. Love it. Get to perform. Never get hurt. Works out really well.
Where are you at next?
Next, I'm down in Florida. I'm speaking for 360 Loyalty. It's a program to help corporate clients work with their customers in a customer loyalty setting. And so, yeah, I'll be down there. It'll be great. Down in Orlando.
Are you now? We got your stuff, but you on social media? Is that where people can follow you? So find out where you're speaking.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm all over social media and usually posting about a little bit of football stuff, a little bit of family stuff, and a lot of speaking stuff.
No doubt. Hey, I love the speakers, man. So I'm glad I got to do it for a little bit. And I know we lost a great one, Coach Mack at Colorado, actually, who was running around doing that forever. So we can't thank you enough. We got your ticker on the ticker. Follow Karl on X, and we can't thank you enough, Karl. We'll hopefully have you on again soon.
Thanks, JB. Thanks, Smitty.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate you.